Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. Mr. Joshua with another updated video of my Batman versus Terminator comic. This is going to be part 7, I believe. So anyways, we left off with me basically half-assing the last bit of my comic that I haven't gotten into yet. I'm sorry, Lane Staley, not right now. I'm not in the mood for Alice in Chains. So, let's see. The last part of my video, like I mentioned before, Batman is saved by John Connor. You know, they're in this big giant battle with Terminators. And Batman and Batman's army, they're looking for the Resistance. And, dude, I'm so tired right now. I don't know why. So anyways, Batman, he's stuck in a trench. He's, beaten, wounded up a little bit. And a random Terminator jumps down into the trench, coming after Batman. And before that Terminator is able to kill Batman, this, shadow that's standing on top of the trenches shoots up the Terminator and destroys it. Batman immediately looks up and sees this dark shadow staring down at him. And then the dark shadow reaches down with his hand and reaches for Batman. Batman takes it. And the shadow helps Batman out of the trench. And then Batman notices that it's just a random soldier. And he looks down at the name tag and it says J. Connor. And so that's when he says, "Oh, so you're John Connor," basically. And that's where I left off on my story. And so for part 7, how do we start this off? Again, I don't have anything from my last video to this video right now written down or even pre-planned. So everything right now is just based on speculation and just, making shit up as we go. So it fast forwards to Batman and the leftovers of Batman's army. They're at John Connor's headquarters. I forget what he calls the headquarters. But anyways, he's showing Batman around. Shows Batman some of the Terminators that John Connor has, reprogrammed, taken over the past couple of years. And Batman, finds that interesting that he's using Terminators to protect him, even though, he's fighting Terminators. John Connor is fighting Terminators, I should say. And John Connor John Connor takes Batman to this huge ass hangar where he has 2 HK tanks that are being reconfigured and fixed that him and his team captured. And I got this idea kind of from Terminator Resistance, the video game, because it actually makes a lot of sense. That the best way to infiltrate Skynet Central is to use HK tanks, because they're brutal, they're strong, and they're pretty resilient. And then he also shows Batman his small collection of HKs as well. Because with John Connor, with his last attack with Skynet, he's gonna go all out. He's gonna send everything that he has, including Terminators and HK tanks, the works. So Batman and John Connor, they're talking for a little bit. John Connor brings them to a separate room, and they're talking about what they can do to infiltrate Skynet. Then John Connor tells Batman that even with all this equipment that they have, all this reverse engineered HKs and Terminators, it doesn't matter how much we have, we're still not going to be able to manage to get through Skynet's defenses. And then John Connor talks to Batman, saying, I know what kind of hero you are, I know what you've been through, and this is your chance for redemption. I'm asking for your help, even though Batman was the one who went to go find John Connor looking for help as well. And so Batman. So the thing is with Skynet Central is basically protected by a huge ass, like maybe a plasma shield, maybe. And the only person who can actually break through the shield is Batman. So Batman leads attack. Of course, Batman sneaks into Skynet Central, and how he does this is that Batman sends off drones and plants all the drones around the base of Skynet, and finds weaknesses in the shields and this and that. He finds weaknesses, and what Batman does is that he has Batman has a really cool Batmobile that's built for off-road, but it can also for injection. What it can also do is it can also detach itself from the wheels and turn itself into kind of a glider, like a glider escape jet or whatever. So what Batman does is he reconfigures the jet so that it also has its own orbital plasma shield. And so what that does is that since the jet is covered by a plasma shield, theoretically Batman can easily go through the shield. But the only problem is that he only has one prototype. So, long story short, Batman is able to easily break through the plasma shield that Skynet has undetected, and he flies the jet towards the Skynet pyramid, because with Skynet, for some weird reason, it created a huge weird pyramid building for itself to show its might and strength, from what I've read. And the glider is stealth, so not even Terminators could easily detect it. And with the plasma shield on, it basically acts as a camouflage, so Skynet's turrets and HK tanks that are patrolling won't be able to detect it. So let's say that Batman finds an entrance, and it's a hangar. The hangar opens up, and that's where HKs fly out of. So Batman flies in there, lands, and makes sure there's no Terminators around. But with the hangars are self-automated. They're just specifically for HKs to fly in and fly out. So Batman jumps out of his Batwing that's been camouflaged by a shield, and he goes off and searches around, trying to find the brain, so to speak, of Skynet. And then Batman, of course, he comes across Skynet's future plans. Like, he sees the assembly line for the T-1000s. He sees the cold fridge storage units for the T-800s that are that skin for infiltration. He even comes across just a big giant army full of Terminators, T-800s just standing in line together, groups together, and there must be 100 or 200 just standing on guard. And as he's walking in there, Batman comes across a window into a room, and so Batman looks in, and he sees all these human scientists walking around, doing research and building things. And Batman's confused, because Batman's under the impression that Skynet just captures and kills humans. But here are these well-dressed, humans walking around, just, walk around like it's nothing, just doing scientist things. And Batman just sits there and kind of watches them in amazement, and he realizes that, wait a minute, these scientists are more than likely working for Skynet. And he quickly realizes that it makes sense. You know, it makes sense because these scientists are obviously well fed. They're well fed. They what is this guy doing? They're well fed. They're clean shaved and all that sort of stuff. And Batman wants to go in there and confront them, but he can't. But he can't sit there and steer away from his objective. And that's where I'm going to leave it off for today. If you guys like my videos, please like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.